Welcome to Mental Health Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Loveness Mabhunu, with Mr. Patrick Tanyi, Pastor John Nyika, Pastor Hazel Nyika. Today we are talking about grief, the storm we all face, but yet no one prepares us for it. So today we are breaking the silence. Whether you have lost a loved one, a dream, a relationship, or a version of yourself, this episode is for you. We are going to give you tools, hope, and healing. Stay with us. Would you please introduce yourself to the audience, Mr. Patrick Tanyi?
Thank you. My name is Patrick Tanyi, a mental health counselor and psychotherapist. Here today, I am the guest, and we're going to be talking about grief and how immigrants struggle here in Canada. So, however, I'm here just to be able to support you, cover your journey through grief. Speaking as a family member, as a person who's a family member, who's a father who have gone through it, also I have a lot of experience, not only from reading the books, but from a cultural perspective and with what we see out here in the West. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is John Nyika. I'm a pastor, I'm a family man.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Hazel Nyika. I'm a pastor serving under my husband in ministry.
Mr. Patrick Tanyi, would you please explain to our audience what grief is?
Thank you. Grief is something that usually we don't talk about it on a daily basis. It's a language that people don't like to carry on a daily basis because it has its own, the way that it comes is not the way that everybody likes. Grieving is a path that we follow, but it comes after we lost a loved one, and no one likes to go through that journey because of the fact that we don't want it to happen, which we say denial. Yes. So the journey of grief is very complicated, it's ambiguous, complex, and people take it from different directions. And also it has a strong cultural connotation because people from the third world or from Africa especially, and people from the West don't grieve the same. The process of grieving, as stated by Elizabeth Klobuchar, is not linear. People in the West, they see grieving different, and the cultures also shape how people mourn. So grieving itself from the African perspective and even from people from South America is very different. The pain is too much, and cultures also influence how people mourn and go through grief.
Thank you. Pastor John Nyika, as a pastor, you have maybe done funeral services for people like members from the church and congregations. Would you explain to us what would be the most hardest part for the grieving process?
Well, as a pastor, I think grief is something that all of us we go through, and no one is immune to grief. One way or the other, every one of us, we all pass through certain type of grief in life. So it all depends with the person, how long you want to grieve, and also like what Mr. Patrick says, your surroundings, your community, where you're coming from, contributes to how you grieve. Some they grieve for long, some they have a shorter period of time that they grieve and life goes on.
That's right, Mr. Hazel.
Yeah, and I also think grief, it's something that doesn't have a process, and it's a never-ending process. If I should say, I think that's the hardest part of grief. In as much as people want it to go away, it's never ending. It's an internal battle.
That's right.
Yeah.
So many people have a misunderstanding about grief because they always think grief is only about death. Mr. Patrick, as a psychotherapist, you are dealing with different people. What are other types of grief besides death?
We have grief. Grief comes not only besides death, not only for when people die or we lost loved ones. Comes when you grieve also when you lost your job, especially you had a good, well-paid job, and something happens, and you're fired or something happened, you lost that job. That process of reflecting on how to start building your resume, and even before you even accept to start building your resume, it takes a long time because you find yourself struggling to say, "Oh my gosh, what just happened to me?"
Yes.
Yes, it's what we say, just like grief itself. So it's denial. You first deny that, is it really me that has lost this job? Yeah, the other one is, besides losing a job, other type of grief is aspirations. Yes, or you're so ambitious and you really want to achieve something. You wanted to be a pilot. Unfortunately, you failed that big exam and you cannot make it. Yeah.
What
So,
are the stages of grief?
stages of grief is denial. We have denial, we have anger, bargaining, and we also have depression and acceptance. So these stages now, they help, when we look at these stages, all these denials, all these bargaining stages that we go through, people look at it as everyone has to follow this path. But unfortunately, it's not, as I said before, it's not linear. There are some people that before they accept, they come to accept them, they've struggled a lot. And some people just accept. As I said before, it goes with your background, your culture, and your personality, who you are. So acceptance or grieving stages is not one size fits all, as I usually say. People approach it differently, people see it differently, people, and some people try to first argue, or some people get angry before they even start saying, but no, I don't think it's really true. This really happened. Yes. So it takes different dimensions, and yeah, so the stages also plays a role, but no one follows it from A to B. People takes it from different dimensions based on how they face, how they're struggling to deal with it or to cope.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
How does grief show up in the body and mind?
Well, yeah. Grief actually just affects a very big part of the human being because it starts in your mindset. It can activate anxiety, depression, which can end up leading you into getting some chronic sicknesses, just like diabetes and stuff like that. Anorexia, you end up not eating. You can develop sleep problems where you sometimes some people don't even sleep at all because their mind is constantly working. So people get stressed, some lose weight, some their eating habits become distorted and they eat a bit too much, not healthy. So you can gain a lot of weight as well from grieving, lose weight from grieving, and it can actually lead to someone becoming suicidal, depending on how you cope or how your mind has taken this whole thing. Yeah.
So, since grieving is a process, some people they get better faster, quickly, but some people prolong for a long time. Pastor John, why do you think some people get stuck for a long time in the grieving process?
Well, I think it all comes back to a personal decision that somebody has to make for himself. Because at times you have to think, why should I grieve on something that I can't change? Because at times you dwell too much on whatever you've gone through, forgetting to see that there is a future ahead behind the pain that you go through. I'll take you back to the word of God in the book of Isaiah. 43, verse 18 and 19, the Bible says, forget the former things. Do not dwell on things of the past. But behold, I will do a new thing. Will you not see it? So one of the things that hinder new things happening in our lives is us dwelling in the past, in our grief, instead of us letting go. So I believe it's a choice that one has to decide that I think it's enough. Let me focus on what I can change in life.
And I also think for, like, yes, it's a choice, but for other people it depends on how the situation happened. Let's say, for example, we talk about death, how the death happened. Was it sudden, or if it was murder, someone was brutally killed, or if it was a rape case, someone was raped, how everything happened, who raped them. So their relationship to the person also that may have died also hinders them from moving past it. So it just comes back to how the whole situation happened. Were you able to then accept it afterwards? So then you find some people hold on to it because maybe they're asking themselves questions, and they might be thinking, if I had done this, it wouldn't have happened. So as well as in cases of losing a dream, you are grieving your dream, but maybe let's say, like Mr. has said about failing an exam, you start pondering upon it, like, if I had studied more, I would have passed and I wouldn't have lost my dream. If I was doing this, I wouldn't have lost my job. If it's in terms of death, then you're thinking, if I was there, they wouldn't have died. But that's not the case. Yeah, so it just depends with all those.
That's right. Why do you think society is comfortable to talk about grief?
I think, from my understanding, I don't really think society is comfortable to talk about it. I think it comes now, it's in the West, and part of the research we have back in when I think about my cultural background, where I come from, people don't really like to talk about it. See, because people go through a lot of stress and nobody expects or wants or feel that it should even happen. The people are always constantly in denial that it should not even happen. So we're talking about death now. We are talking about death or grief now because we have found that many people get stuck. Since they get stuck and they have issues with accepting what has really happened, there's a lot of research, and professionals are stepping up to look for ways that people could receive services on how to walk through these grieving challenges. So the goal, as you said, people are talking about it now, is because is to help people recognize that it has happened. Yes, it is no way to bring someone back. When someone passes away, it's gone. So it has happened, and what next? Yes. So rather than getting stuck and being in that cycle where you don't want to really say yes, in that vicious cycle where you don't want to say yes, it has happened. We need services, and these services are there to support you, recognize the problem, try to control your anger that it has happened, trying to see how you can bargain or negotiate. Okay, it has happened. What do I do? And try also to see how you can work on not being very depressed. You will normally be depressed, but this depression also, it goes with the intimacy you had with the person who passed away. Yeah. So if the intimacy, the attachment wasn't that strong, it depends. People will not. It depends on people. I've heard so many people talk about it. I'm doing the same thing. Right now I have clients who are going through that. It depends on that. So the attachment and the roles that they play when they were alive makes it difficult for people to accept it. However, we have to talk about it, so we help them to understand that, okay, this person's not there. This is where you could find support. This is how you can try to help yourself to be comfortable and happy. Yeah.
When people are grieving, sometimes we try to support them or to comfort them, or sometimes some people, instead of supporting or comforting, they will say worst things that will make even the person who is grieving feeling worse. What are some of the worst things that we can say to somebody who is grieving?
I'll give an example of, like, let's say somebody has lost a child. People will tend to say, "Oh, but you still have other kids, or you can try again next time." But you don't know what the person is going through. You can't bring back that same child that you have lost, although maybe you can still try to get another one. Yeah, so that's some of the hateful words that people can say. You can try again next time.
They can also say it was God's way, in as much as that can be true, but
Yeah.
the person that's grieving doesn't want to hear that
Yeah.
at that time. And people will say it will be okay, but it's not okay.
Yes, it's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the other reason why people are uncomfortable to talk about it, because people don't know what to say. In the time of grieving, some of the times it's better to be silent. Also, the silence can also be bad. And if you say something you don't know, whatever you say, is it going to change their situation? So it's very tricky.
That's right. So what would be the best ways to support someone who is grieving, even if we don't know what to say?
Yes, I think there's no best way, but the simple way from a therapeutic point of view is one of the ways to it is okay but not okay. So, but yeah, so the point where you can't be able to get this support to, you cannot just say, "Oh, sorry, sorry that you are going through this." Normally, it's a way to say to calm the person down, but also it comes with that type of the ways. When we talk about ways, because you can look at it theoretically and practical. So practical is being supportive, recognizing, calling, and checking. Yes, hi, how is it going today? I can imagine how tough it is for you. Yes, and then being in the theoretical approach is just like, okay, well, when you meet the person, you just say, okay, or maybe you say, okay, how is it going? I know it is difficult, but the way that you say it in theory is not the way that you act in practice. Phone calls are more practical. You're talking. Theory is just imagining that it is happening, what is happening with the person that lost a loved one. So the simple ways that you can support is encouragement and support. The support is encouragement or helping to recognize, maybe for them to recognize that they still have the strength to move on, not getting stuck. They have the strength. Just say, you know, it's difficult. You imagine how it's difficult for the person, but recognize that you still have the strength to move on. The other things that you will get out of there. It will be okay, but in a nice and subtle way, not like getting okay, like okay that we say on the public, in the public, on the streets. Yeah. So
Talking about different cultural perspectives and socialization, back home in Africa, especially when we talk about death, we know that when our loved ones lose someone, we as family and friends would go to support the person, either to their house, and if it's religiously, people will be singing the whole night and day until the burial. But when I came here, one of our friends lost a loved one. So I had cultural shock because we thought, as part of who we are, we can go to the person to be with her so that she won't be alone. But however, we were told, no, they are not accepting anyone right now. They just want to be alone, to have their own space. So we are dealing with different ways of grieving. How would you feel if you are told such kind of stuff, especially here with the cultural differences?
I would definitely be shocked, because I think because of where we are coming from. Like, I know growing up, if there's a funeral in your neighborhood, even if you don't know the person, you just go to show that you are part of the community. You are showing remorse to the family. So I think for me, it's a shock. And I think also, let's not neglect our cultures just because we are in the diaspora. Some of our cultures, they are good cultures, because if you isolate yourself, that's when you begin to have different thoughts, suicidal thoughts, because you don't have support system around you. You have closed the door for people to come and visit you, people to come and mourn with you, people come to encourage you. So I think that door should be open.
Yeah, because sometimes we think if we send you flowers or a card, and then, like nowadays with technology, people will now say my condolences over the WhatsApp
Yeah.
or over the text message, over the phone call, and then we don't feel like we need to go to support our loved ones as a community. And sometimes, like you are saying, if we also consider some of our cultural traits, because we know if you have someone with you, then sometimes it helps you to grieve better, in a better process. What are the healthy coping mechanisms you can advise people who are grieving?
There's healthy coping mechanisms. We shall be looking at it from community support, personal contact, that is yeah, getting in touch with your close ones. If you're going through grief, ensure that you still maintain your support network, your friends. Yes, keep in touch. And these friends will likely be surely getting back to you, maybe by email, by calls, or coming in person. And other coping mechanisms is try to exercise yourself, go out, avoid isolation, and also be able to recognize that your life can move on. Yes, that is it. So until you recognize it yourself, you will get stuck there.
That's
But
right.
when you recognize, that's when you have the courage, you have the personal feelings of getting out there and picking up phone calls from your friends, sending messages, any issues, anything around town that we can go, or they inviting you somewhere. It's okay, yeah, I will be there. So avoiding all that isolation will be very helpful, and you're also recognizing that you have to continue with your life. It's also very important.
That's right. What would be the health coping
I-
mechanism you
yeah.
can advise people?
I think self-care. You have to get up, take care of yourself. You have to show yourself love. Just taking a shower is part of it. Having a good meal, eating well, giving yourself time to even grieve. You're allowed to cry, because I think some cultures, people don't want to see you crying. If you feel like it, cry, grieve, accept it, get into the feeling. Have good sleep, eat. You can also engage in journaling, in music, in art. So when you shift that anger or that grief into such things, then that's how you end up dealing with it. So
Yeah, I think also, especially for men, it's a little bit difficult, because the same men who are supposed to come and encourage you, they'll tell you, no, men don't cry.
Yeah.
So you bottle it inside you, but instead of just releasing it out, because the moment you release it out, you feel much better.
definitely.
Just to add something from what I'm sorry, your name.
Hey,
The other
so-
speaker, yeah. So from what she said, what I'm trying to say here is because I understand one of our main audiences here are people from Africa or Black people, or from maybe Caribbean. Issues like journaling doesn't really work from a practical point of view. So what do you mean? Just sit down and be writing things for what? So cultural aspects play a great role here, because in the West they will tell you to do, how do you call it, do journaling, and then to do, how do you call it, meditation. Meditation, talking to somebody who is from the jungle of Africa to come and do meditation. What are you talking about? They
but
will ask you, yeah, I go to church. Is that not enough? I go to prayers. I go to this. I have a prayer group. So when you're talking about journaling or meditation, yeah, self-care is good. All the things that you mentioned, even what I talked before, I mentioned, it's part of self-care. But the thing is, some of these things don't really fit from people that come from our backgrounds. From our background, it's challenging for them to understand and incorporate that into their healing process.
I would like to respond on that. I think that's what starts the stigma, because there's stigmatization with how people end up, like the mental health thing in Africa. It's an issue. People do not deal with what they're going through because we are stuck in this culture where there are certain things that the West also brings that would actually help us to come out of the culture. Because you find, I'll tell you for an example, for me, journaling, it's something that really worked for me practically. I never used to do it. And this is advice that I was told by a client of mine, which is from the West, and I'm an African, right? I was going through grief after we lost a child. And then she bought me a book. This is what happened. She bought me a book and just like a journal. She told me, write. And then I took the book. Knowing my African self, I was asking myself, what am I going to do with this book? Right? But the day that I started writing, it opened up a certain perspective. And when you write, because sometimes as Africans, we are scared of saying the truth, how we feel, and saying certain things because of the next person, how they're going to judge us. If I tell you I'm suffering mentally because of this, then someone in their mind, they're probably thinking, why would you say you're suffering mentally when we've all gone through it? Things like that. Those are the ways we approach things the African way. So when I started writing, I found that I could write certain things that I could not say to anyone. And once I write it, it's out of my chest. It really works. So it's something that we also need to borrow. There are
Okay,
tools.
so you were advised to write things that you'll not say to someone. You
It
have
can
to
be
write it.
something. Yes, you can just write what you're thinking. So let's say I wake up today, I can write about my achievements of the day. It's not even connected to the grief. Or I can write about what I'm feeling, or I can write a letter to the person that I lost. I can write whatever that you're feeling. So as soon as you start doing it, it works. Trust me, it does work.
Thank you, but thank
Yes.
you. But I guess that's a customized approach.
Oh, yes,
That's very customized. So,
yeah, well.
yep. Thank you.
So grieving, actually, like we are saying, it's a process. It also resonates with me. I lost my daughter at 15 years. And even right now, I cannot get over it. Sometimes I feel like it's yesterday or today. Sometimes I feel like she's still alive. And sometimes I speak like she's still alive. And then someone has to remind me to say, what are you saying? Then I'll start thinking, oh, she's no longer here. So as we are saying here, we need healing tools to cope up. It's not a one-time thing that if it happens, you'll forget. It's a painful process, a painful journey that we all need help, support, and tools. Because if we are not careful, someone can be depressed, someone can get mental issues or emotions that are happening. Mr. Patrick, what would you say to someone listening right now who feels stuck in grief?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, if you are out there and you're going through, you're stuck in grief, all I just want to suggest, bring here from a therapeutic point of view, is to be able to recognize that it has happened. Yes, and you don't have the power to take control of things, to change the what has happened. So it is there. You first of all also have to be able to get yourself to recognize that life will never be the same again, given that it has happened, and you walk through understanding the fact that you have to accept what has happened. Yes, because we understand that this people getting stuck is because of the roles that their partners played, or their friends or their family members played in your lives, and where responsibilities were being taken up by someone that passed away, and the other person said, "Oh, I used to remember I used to call X, Y, or my wife or my husband used to be there to pay the bills. I'm not used to this computer thing. I don't know what she usually does. I don't know that what my friend usually do. My friend usually do this for me, or my auntie usually does that for me." Once you are able to, once you feel like you can't get around all these things, it's just a matter of understanding that you are a human being, you can adjust. Yes. So recognize that you had weaknesses, it has happened, but you think your life can move on. So accept it. Accept it, calm down, take some time, reorganize yourself. I don't want to put it in therapeutic language. I want to put it in simple language that anyone can understand here. Yeah. Reorganize yourself such that I know reorganizing yourself also will be challenging because you're stuck. But it takes time. The time will heal the wound. You get out of it.
What would be your last words and also as advice to someone who is grieving right now?
Like you said, the first thing is to accept what has happened. You can't change. You may have questions that no one can give you answers. You need to understand that in as much as grieving is a process, it takes time, and also you have to learn to live with it, because some of the pains, they leave a scar and a permanent mark. So you just have to learn to live with it.
Mr. Hesa?
Yeah, I don't think I have much to add. It's just the same. It's you have to decide to continue to live on. Yes, because if you don't, then you will find yourself stuck in depression and things like that.
Grief doesn't mean forgetting. It means learning to live with love in a new way. If you are grieving right now, know this: you are not broken. You are human. Healing is not about erasing the pain. It's about carrying it with grace. It's not a one-time thing. It's a journey. We all walk together. If this episode touches your heart, or if you know someone who is grieving, please share with them and follow us for more episodes. Please share, subscribe, and like. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick Tanyi.
Thank you too.
And to our audience, you all have a wonderful and blessed day. Goodbye.